Are you 57 and dreaming of retirement? What you can do right now to put yourself in a better position for retirement on Retiring Today. Welcome to Retiring Today. I'm Molly Nelson here with Loren Merkle and Chawn Honkomp. They are both certified financial planners and certified financial fiduciaries. Chawn is also a CPA. If you are age 57 and dreaming of retirement, today's show is just for you, because if you're 57 and you're dreaming, Loren, sometimes it's hard to get going on the doing instead of the dreaming part.
Because there's so much to do. I would say age 57 is not the age that most people retire, but it is the most common age that people really start envisioning what retirement means for them. And so this is a time frame, if you want to retire at age 62, 63, 64, somewhere along that 5-year red zone time frame, there's a lot of moving pieces that need to be put together for a successful retirement. What a better time to get started to make sure you can have the retirement you want to.
And Loren brought up the red zone. You're an old football player. I know you love football as well. Yeah, that's when you're getting really close to that touchdown that is retirement. And so let's get in the mindset of that red zone. Where are people at a lot of times when they're 57?
Yeah, for all of us at 57, you've got to be thinking that you've been working for 30, maybe 40 years, probably 30 plus years in your career. But if you go back to your teenage jobs and those very first jobs, maybe now 40 years of working. So you've put that time in. A lot of you are empty nesters. The kids are gone. Maybe they're in college or through college. Maybe they've got weddings in their future. Maybe you're fortunate enough to have grandkids, or you've got the parents that are aging, maybe now well into their 80s or 90s. So a lot of people at 57, there's these wild cards. We've got the older parents. We've got younger kids that are maturing, becoming adults. There's a lot on your plate, a lot you need to be thinking about at 57.
So what's holding people back, Loren, from starting to really get serious about planning for retirement?
Most of it's the unknown. This is a phase of their life that they have never been in before. So they think about, what is it going to take to live the rest of their life without that W-2 income? What can they do from a healthcare standpoint? Because they hear these stories of what individual healthcare coverage costs. $1,000 a month for an individual, maybe $2,000, $2,500 a month for a couple. And they're like, this is cost prohibitive, or is it really? So there's just a lot of different things that they've never encountered before, and it's that unknown most of the time. Sometimes it's like the couple that we met with last week, where the financials are solid. We've been working with them for about 3 to 4 years. Their plan is really good. But he has worked for the same company for 43 years.
Wow, that's impressive.
His wife has been retired for a couple of years, and it's very much a yin and yang. He wants to retire, however, he's involved in a really nice project he's really excited about, but admittedly, work is becoming too much. And he said he's actually starting to lose his hair, and his wife is sitting next to him, and he's like, health is more important than working another year, because his plan was, I just want to work another year. So sometimes it's just, I'm involved in a project, or I've been doing this for 43 years. I know what I'm doing, and I don't know what lies over here. But it all boils down to the unknown. And part of the essence of planning is take the unknown out of it, turn the unknown to known, and that will increase confidence level and make that transition much easier.
And Chawn, a lot of times if people are 57, they're already working with someone who's really focused on helping them invest for retirement.
And that's another reason why maybe people don't take that next step, because they think they're already doing it. Part of that unknown is we know it's new. Planning for retirement is new, and maybe you've had that relationship, like you said, Molly, somebody that's been there by your side to help you through those working years. Maybe you get the life insurance when you have those needs as you're younger. They're helping you start to save. They're helping you accumulate everything that you now have at age 57, and everything feels good. In your example, they've got a strong financial plan. They're not concerned about that. But now at 57, you're going to be starting to think about all these things. What does healthcare look like? What does Medicare all entail? You're going to see a ton of emails and phone calls and TV commercials a few years down the road. So it's new. You've got to advance. You've got to go from that investment plan that you've been doing for so long. And now, since this is new, we often hear from you that you don't know what you don't know. And oftentimes it's someone like us that we get to do this every single day. This is where we are able to provide you that information of what you need to start thinking about now at 57 and what you need to focus on over these next several years as you get closer and closer to that retirement day.
Okay, Lauren, so let's say I'm 57. Let's say I have been working with someone and I've been doing some investing, some life insurance, and I'm thinking I'm good to go, but I want to know a little bit more. If you sit down, you meet with our team, you call, you do a Retire Ready call, maybe you check out our Journey to Retirement workshop, what's going to look different and feel different than what you've been doing before?
It's going to look different from the very beginning. We realize that sometimes meeting with a new planner, a new advisor can be very intimidating. You just don't know what you're going to get. Maybe you've met with one before and it was a bad experience. Maybe you've heard some horror stories. So we make it very simple, very easy, and it's very much on your terms. You walk into the office, you are greeted with a very friendly, smiling face. You get a big cookie and some coffee or some water, and you sit down at a very comfortable conference room, and then you work with a planner. And in that conversation, it is your conversation about you. What we want to know is, what do you want to accomplish? Where are you at in your life? What are your concerns? It's all about you, because there's so many different moving pieces when it comes to retirement. We need to figure out the income plan. We need to figure out the legacy plan, the tax plan, the healthcare plan, and the investment plan, which is significantly different experience than what you've had before, because before, your focus has probably been on the investments. The investments are still important, but we need to learn about all of you so we can help you build all of those parts of the plan. So it's a conversation. It's very easy. It's all about you. And then from there, we will put the pieces together to help identify what planning pieces really need to be incorporated within the overall plan.
I don't want to overlook the cookie. I mean, you guys give great retirement advice and you help people put together plans that'll, get them all the way to and through retirement. But the cookie is a big bonus when you come in. People love that cookie.
Yeah, the other day somebody called it a cake because it's just so big, which is why we have a to-go box. So don't worry, if you can't finish it, we have a to-go box and you can finish it for breakfast the next day.
And it's different too, because investments are part of our process. But I think what's different is that there's these other pillars. So when people come in, I think if you're 57, you might be surprised, Chawn, that one of the first things you're going to say is, what do you want to do in retirement? And they're 57 going, I've got a checklist. And you're like, good, let's write that down, because we're going to work from there. And now we're going to build your plan based on those answers.
And that's why the lifestyle plan is one of those 6 components that we focus on within that entire plan. It's not very common. Most advisors are not going to spend time and say that we help you with your lifestyle plan. Again, most of your experiences with an investment focused advisor, it's all about an investment plan. Again, at 57 and beyond, it's different. Those same decisions you made to get you to 57, those are not the same answers and decisions that are going to get you to and through retirement. So that's why we focus on this lifestyle plan. Ultimately, you're going to drive your lifestyle. If you're single, you get to decide where to live, what to do, how much to spend. If you're a couple, you guys get to decide that together. What is life going to look like? But we do take an active role in that. We've got a lot of different events that we put on. We do lunch and learns. We do volunteer type events, fun events, educational events. So we try to take as active of a role as we can in that lifestyle plan, because that is really what drives those other 5 components. What's life going to look like? How much do you need to spend? We need to be aware of that, identify those goals like you touched on, Lauren. That's what is going to allow us to help build that income plan, start thinking about investments and risk, healthcare, all those other needs.
Yeah, and we're talking about fun and dreaming, and the lifestyle plan is great, but I'm sure some people are like, okay, great, I can dream on my own. I want help. I want to make the most of what I've saved. So let's not overlook the fact that there are things at 57, action steps that you can take that can start putting you in a better position to retire.
One of the most common things that we need to look at is, what is your current contribution strategy? Are you contributing to your retirement accounts right now? Is it an IRA? Is it a Roth IRA? What availability do you have through your employer plan, a 401k, Roth 401k, 403b? The laws have changed so substantially over the last 5 years. This is something we have to revisit with families, especially as they're looking to approach that red zone to retirement. So we look at, are your contributions, are they going in very conservatively? Are they going in more aggressively? Your contribution investment strategy should probably be different than the money you've already accumulated underneath your 401k plan. And then from a tax planning standpoint, most 401k plans today now offer the ability to contribute to the Roth side. Does that make sense to you? Most 401k plans today also allow you to convert underneath the 401k plan. So if a conversion strategy is right for you, but you don't have the IRA to do it outside of the 401k plan, that doesn't mean it's not possible. We might still be able to look at it underneath. And then as of recently, a lot of 401k plans now will allow your employer contributions not to go to the pre-tax side, but also go to the Roth side. Not to say that that should be your strategy, but it's definitely an element you have to look at and make an intentional decision now that things are so pivotal. Every decision you make is so pivotal because your time frame is so much shorter before you actually pull that trigger to retire.
You heard Loren and Chawn say it's about so much more than investment. So what goals should go into retirement? What decisions are you going to make as you head to and through retirement? You can find out during our Journey to Retirement workshop. Loren talked about how simple some of this is. A text is as simple as a text. You can text Journey to the number on your screen right now and get started signing up for our online Journey to Retirement workshop and seeing what goes into a comprehensive retirement plan. But we've got more to cover on retiring today. We're going to tell you about some action steps you can take at age 57 and answer some of the questions we've received during that Journey to Retirement workshop next.
You dream of a happy retirement, but there are some big questions to answer first. Do I have enough saved? When should I take Social Security? How will I pay for health care and keep up with inflation? Go to merkleretire.com to schedule a 15-minute retirement checkup call to talk directly with a retirement planner and get answers to your important retirement questions. The first step to your retirement starts with a 15-minute retirement checkup call.
Do I have enough saved for retirement? When should I take Social Security? Which Medicare option is best? How do I plan for inflation? Sometimes the road to retirement starts with more questions than answers. We're here to help. Join us for our upcoming Journey to Retirement workshop. Get answers and start your retirement journey with confidence. Our online workshop includes information on Secure Act 2.0 and changing retirement rules. Visit retirewithmerkle.com to register for an upcoming workshop. Your retirement journey starts now.
The Merkle Retirement Planning Team provides personable and professional expertise unrivaled in this area. They include us in every step of the planning process. The peace of mind provided to us by the Merkle team allows us to fully enjoy this special time of our lives. Instead of feeling snakebit, we feel confident that with the Merkle Retirement Planning Team at our sides, we can navigate any challenge that comes our way.
Merkle Retirement Planning. Your retirement starts here.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. It's time for your journey, your questions. This is when we answer questions that we've received during our online Journey to Retirement workshop. So during the workshop recently, we got this question. Is there normally such a large market correction in an average 5-year time period? Before we answer the question, guys, though, we should set this up because this came in real time during the online Journey to Retirement workshop. You guys have these segments that you go through. And during one of the segments, Loren, some numbers come up on the screen and they show recent recessions over the last, 20 years or so. And I think that was probably a question that came in during that section.
Yeah, most definitely. We talk about how we go through recessions on average every 5 to 6 years. But what was referenced here was a market correction, a large market correction. So recession's more economic driven economy and correction is more stock market, which is what most people are really caring about. And on average, we go through a correction every year. On average, we go through a bear market, which is probably the intent of the question, a large market correction every couple of years. So we go through market and economy events on a consistent basis. Every year we go through something where the market's going to dip a little bit more than 10% on average and over 20% every couple of years. So this is not something that we should be surprised by. In fact, we've seen it this year. We saw in 2022, we saw a bear market and some would deem a recession even in 2022. And then we can all remember 2020, what happened in March of 2020, and then of course 2018, where the market was down more than 10% in just December alone. So even if we look back over the last 6 years, there have been many market and economy driven events that would make us a little bit queasy going into retirement if we had to depend upon the portfolio and didn't have an active strategy in place.
And I know you guys, because you watch the markets very closely, of course, you remember exactly what happened. Just for those of us who, don't watch them quite as closely, it's also what's going on in the world that a lot of times coincides. So, of course, 2020, COVID. Everybody remembers COVID, and then, of course, the stock markets react to that. 2008 was the Great Recession, the housing bubble burst. 2001, the dot-com bubble burst. All recent recessions that a lot of people who are 57, which is who we're talking to today, remember because they had a 401k they were investing at that time.
We all remember those experiences. Everybody's probably heard the 2OK, right? The 2008, 2009 recession where the S&P was down as much as 58% over a 18, 19-month time period. That's where we said, yeah, my 401k got turned into a 201k. We have those conversations yet today, which is now how many years ago? Going on 16 years
but
later.
People have not forgotten.
It's on their minds.
It's so impactful.
Yep, and people remember that feeling, that queasy feeling of, okay, well, this doesn't feel good. This isn't what we want to see in the markets. And now when you're 57, based on everything Loren shared, odds are you're going to go through this again before you retire. And now what you need to be thinking about is this timing. When are these market corrections going to happen? How big are they going to be? How long are they going to last? That is a very important part of these last final years. So between 57 and whatever that retirement goal or age is, you want to be intentional and make sure that you know how much risk you're taking and feel good about whatever the markets do. You feel like you're still going to be on your path to achieve your retirement goals.
And no one can answer when they're going to happen, Chawn, but what you can do, Loren, is be prepared for them. You don't have to sit back and watch your 401k become a 201k.
Yeah, these corrections, these bear markets, another word for that is volatility, where the market goes up and down just more steeper than what traditionally it does. Volatility can actually be a really good thing. And the way we look at this is not something to be afraid of because we know it's going to happen. So one, let's be prepared for it. Let's have action steps in place prior to when we go through these bad events in the market and the economy. So when it does happen, your portfolio doesn't get ransacked by what's taking place. You can still have the retirement that you want to. And two, there's action steps that you can take to put yourself in a better position once we go through these events, once they're over. Because the one thing that has been constant is that they've always ended and there's always been a better time. And that will continue to persist throughout. If it doesn't, then it doesn't really matter what decisions we make. So we have to say it's always going to be better throughout. Now let's have action steps in place to take advantage of it and let retirement be what retirement is, regardless of all of these things that nobody can really control.
And this question came in during the Journey to Retirement workshop. And what's happening in that workshop generally during this time period is you've got this couple, John and Sue, they're kind of the stars of our workshop. You're taking them through this, you're showing the market corrections, but then you say, hey, here's what John and Sue can do right now to build a portfolio that will do just what you're talking about, which is not blow up when the markets do.
Yeah, when we're looking at John and Sue, we're talking about if they're taking higher risk and lower risk, and that lower risk doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to get the returns, because again, we don't know what the markets are going to do. There's uncertainty. So we talked to John and Sue about the ability to build what we call a recession-resistant portfolio. And a lot of people, their eyes and ears are going to perk up and say, well, I want one of those.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Because we just talked about that you're going to have a recession likely before you retire. And then certainly in your 20, 30, 40-year retirement journey, you're going to see a number of recessions. So now's the right time, 57 and beyond, to learn more about what it means to have a recession-resistant portfolio, and what can you do, whether markets are up or markets are down, what should you be implementing into your retirement plan?
We've been talking a lot about our Journey to Retirement workshop. I want you to see it. I want you to meet John and Sue. You'll meet our retirement planners as well, and you'll get a really good look at not only this market correction thing that we're talking about, but a comprehensive retirement plan. All the things that go into it, the 6 pillars that we've mentioned, it's all right there in the Journey to Retirement workshop. It's as easy as texting Journey to the number on your screen right now. You can get signed up for a time and a date that works for you and meet John and Sue. Now, the recession-resistant portfolio that Chawn was talking about, it's one of those action steps that you can start taking at age 57. We'll talk about that and more coming up.
Do I have enough saved for retirement? When should I take Social Security? Which Medicare option is best? How do I plan for inflation? Sometimes the road to retirement starts with more questions than answers. We're here to help. Join us for our upcoming Journey to Retirement workshop. Get answers and start your retirement journey with confidence. Our Our online workshop includes information on Secure Act 2.0 and changing retirement rules. Visit retirewithmerkle.com to register for an upcoming workshop. Your retirement journey starts now.
Anytime I have even the smallest question about my accounts or what effect the latest tax law might have on my situation, the Merkle Retirement Planning Team is always there and quick to help. I'm so glad they treat you like family. I'm so happy to have such an excellent team working for my future and ensuring I do the best to achieve my financial goals.
Merkle Retirement Planning. Your retirement starts here.
Do you wonder if you have enough saved for retirement? Will your money last as long as you do? Will taxes, healthcare costs, and inflation derail your retirement? Get answers. Schedule a 15-minute retirement checkup call today. We can cover a lot in 15 minutes, including strategies you can implement now to start your retirement journey. Schedule a call at merkleretire.com. The first step to a confident retirement starts with a simple phone call.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. I'm Molly Nelson here with Chawn Honkomp and Loren Merkle. Let's go back to recession-resistant portfolio, because if you're age 57 and you're watching, I've got to think you're wondering, do I have one of those? So let's talk about exactly what it is and some of the action steps that people can take to build a recession-resistant portfolio.
Having a recession-resistant portfolio really means is to make sure you have the information you need. You make sure you know the most about your total investment portfolio that you've ever known throughout those working years, to ensure that your portfolio doesn't experience too much volatility, doesn't blow up at the wrong time when you need it the most, which is when you're 57 and beyond. So make sure we take a look at it, and that's part of our process. Is, we talked before about that connection step when we're first meeting people. In part 2 of our process, which is what we call our strategize part, that's where we're able to have that much more detailed conversations, get that much more information out there. And part of what we do is we look at your current portfolio and we analyze it in a way that you probably haven't seen before. Most of the families we work with tell us that this is new information. This is a different viewpoint or snapshot of their portfolio. So we help you identify what is it today? What level of risk are you taking? But even more important to that, how does that translate to the markets? Meaning, how much exposure is your current portfolio taking? So if you have $1 million, and if we were to go through a recession or a correction in the markets, does that mean your $1 million could go down to 900,000 or maybe 600,000? That's the kind of information that you want to have at this stage of life, and that's what we help you find out and obtain in that part 2 in our strategy visit.
And another thing that you kind of unveil for people, Loren, is what they're paying in fees, and that can be an eye-opening experience.
When we talk about creating a recession-resistant portfolio, there's multiple components to that. One is understanding how much you are paying in your investment fees. In a lot of investment products, many of the fees that you pay, you cannot see. Even in that book, that prospectus that gets mailed or emailed to you, I know you read it
cover to cover.
Every single year you read it, it's going to show you fees, but that's not all the fees. And most of the fees are fees that you cannot see. We call them hidden fees. By decreasing those fees, you make the portfolio more efficient. So given the same amount of risk, you don't even have to change the risk in this example. Decrease your fees, increase your return. What that does to you is it increases your spendable income in retirement, which is absolutely imperative as you're trying to squeeze everything you can out of what you saved for retirement. So decreasing fees, increasing transparency, so you know how much risk you're taking, how much you're paying, optimize it, and that gives you the best overall retirement recession-resistant portfolio.
Recession-resistant.
I get it.
I was here just in case. Another piece of that too, this could be new for people, is that you look at money a little bit differently, as in spending, as in retirement income, and you look at the money you're going to need right now, the money you're going to need later, and the money you're going to need long term, and you invest each bucket of money a little bit differently based on needs.
There's so much overlap with the 6 components of our retirement planning process, and as we're sitting here talking about designing the portfolio, once we're age 57 and beyond, what you need to start thinking about also is designing the income plan. So there's an overlap with your investment planning decisions and your income planning decisions. So when you get to that stage of life where you're confident enough to say goodbye to the paycheck, now you have to develop that income plan out of all the benefits and the balances that you've accumulated accumulated. So now you've got to start thinking about what should you be doing with that portfolio. Maybe there's a portion of that portfolio that needs to be a little safer. So we often talk about that bucket strategy. We've got a short-term window, we've got the midterm bucket, maybe the long-term bucket. So as you develop that income plan, you're going to want to make sure you have a certain amount of dollars in that short term that you know you don't want to take much risk, see that go down, maybe at all. So because you know you're going to spend that in the short term. And then that midterm bucket that maybe is a little longer out, or maybe you've got some specific goals, or kids' weddings that we've talked about. Maybe you need that, so we've got a certain amount of dollars in that midterm bucket. And then the long term is what we're used to, where we're okay taking more risk and having more volatility. So make those decisions, design that income plan as part of as part of designing your investment plan as well.
It's that income intentionality. Recently, an individual came to me. He was a do-it-yourselfer, right? He was very knowledgeable, very good, and what he told me is that putting money in all these years was easy. But now that I'm going to retire, I'm thinking about how to take it out, and that's a completely different animal, and that's what he was really looking for, is an intentional income plan that he had confidence in, because taking money out is way different than putting money in.
And taking it out in an intentional way. You don't want to spend it all right away. You want to have it last all the way through in retirement.
And be able to resist recessions as you're taking it out. When we go through these bad market times, when you put money into it, that actually helps your contribution strategy and your savings, but it can really hurt you when you're taking money out when the market's way down.
And guys, I feel like we've given those age 57 a lot of stuff to think about, but there's more. We haven't got to catch up contributions. We haven't really talked about long-term tax planning. We haven't talked about what if I want to retire before I'm Medicare eligible. There is a lot of other decisions that they have to start thinking about, and that Journey to Retirement workshop is a great place to see it all lay out in an entertaining way.
Yeah, one of the things we said early in the show is what prevents people from getting started is because this is a new stage of life. You've never done this before, and you might think you're already doing the right things, but going to the Journey to Retirement workshop, that is going to help you get started. We're going to talk about a lot of these things that we talked about, but give you that much more information so that you can start feeling more confident about entering this stage of life, getting from age 57 towards your 60s, and every day we get closer to retirement. So we're going to give you that information you need. So it's about taking that very first step. You take step one before you can take step two. Attending the Journey is going to help people get that information and start building their retirement plan.
It's about an hour and 50 minutes of just jam-packed action steps. How do you create a recession-resistant portfolio? How do you determine if you have a recession-resistant portfolio? We show you how John and Sue save six figures, over $100,000 off of their retirement tax strategy, and much, much more. And what I really like about it is somewhat interactive, where you get to ask questions. That's where the question came from earlier in the show. Ask the questions on your mind. We'll get to as many questions as we possibly can, or maybe you'll see your question appear on a show.
You can sign up for our online Journey to Retirement workshop by texting Journey to the number on your screen. This is Retiring Today, and we thank you for watching.
Do I have enough saved for retirement? When should I take Social Security? Which Medicare option is best? How do I plan for inflation? Sometimes the road to retirement starts with more questions than answers. We're here to help. Join us for our upcoming Journey to Retirement workshop. Get answers and start your retirement journey with confidence. Our online workshop includes information on Secure Act 2.0 and changing retirement rules. Visit retirewithmerkle.com to register for an upcoming workshop. Your retirement journey starts now.